Welcome to the universe of God. Here is where we discover it and then we uncover it. And today we're going to begin to uncover what we are discovering about the age of Aquarius. And like many things that seem to be a mystery, there are layers to uncovering the age of Aquarius. So we're going to start with the galactic plane. Not to give a long disclaimer or anything, but I am asking that if you are from a religious background or a non-religious background, that today let's take your beliefs about God a little out of the box, okay? And start to tune into a perception that may illustrate a picture of truth for you like never before. And in order to illustrate that image, we have to be willing to dive into deeper waters and ascend into higher heights. And by that, I will simply put it, we have to begin to eat from the tree of life. Now, some of these words and some of this verbiage, to some people it may be a little off-putting because you don't ascribe to certain religions or beliefs. However, let's follow the strain of truth where it leads. If you're here seeking the truth, as I am seeking the truth and many others, then let's be willing to go out of the box and the confines of what we may think we know or what we believe, and start to discover the God of the universe. Anyhow, I want to start in Luke 22, verse 10. He replied, "As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters." So, what is Aquarius? Well, it is, first and foremost, it's the sign in the zodiacal reel or wheel, known throughout history as a man pouring a jug of water out upon the earth. But that water also flows straight into the mouth of another sign, another heavenly sign, and that is a fish sign. And that fish is called Fomalhaut. Pisces australis is that fish, the southern fish. And Fomalhaut is one of the four corner stars. Okay, so it's one of the main stars, and it's located in that fish, Pisces australis. So we're going to be using astrological terminology because we are talking about astrological things. We're talking about the universe of God. So let's get over that hurdle real quick. I do want to say that I don't ascribe to astrology, of divination and witchcraft and all of those things. But I do understand astrological purposes to a certain extent. I mean, we're talking about a God who created the heavens and the earth. These astrological signs and so forth are in the heavens. We would do well to understand some things about them, especially considering the signs in the heavens, that we are getting messages from heaven that are coming through the zodiacal wheel of life. And if we are ignorant to those messages, then we may be ignorant to understanding the age of Aquarius, what we're experiencing now, where we're at, where we're headed, physically, spiritually. And we don't want to stay in a place of darkness, which is also ignorance. We don't want to stay there. Who wants to stay there? Come into the light. So we're going to come into the light of the universe of God, and we're going to break this down, again, starting with the galactic plane, for my Christians, for, those at the house of faith. Don't let this terminology scare you. Take God out of the box. And honestly, as we enter into the age of Aquarius, some believe we've already entered, but I don't. But as we enter into the age of Aquarius, we're going to discover the God of the universe, okay? We're going to discover the God outside of the box like never before. This is what needs to start taking place in this time, in this day, in this age. Anyhow, so Aquarius, it's an astrological sign in the heavens, and like all 12 signs in the zodiac, it's accompanied by 3 decans. And you can think of the decans as like kin or relative to the main sign. In this case, the 3 decans are Pisces Australis, which is also known as Pisces Austrinus, Cygnus, the bird, the swan, and Pegasus, the flying horse. And they are like the family of the major sign or the house of Aquarius. They're the family living in the house of Aquarius. So that's how you can think of these decans. They're major markers on the astrological time clock associated with their sign. The decans tell of the sign's coming, its climax, and its ending, which is also referred to astrologically as cardinal, mute, and fixed. All right. And the sun, it arises in its new house every 2,000 to 2,160 years as it heralds a new day, a new time, a new age. And that house tells us what age or time it is. We need to know what time it is. Every day you want to know what time it is. We also need to know what time it is astrologically, because this is, it's all relative, of course. We're not separated from the clock above. We created our clocks based off of that clock in the sky. All right. So the ages, they mark the celestial clock, which is much like our earthly clock. So this is Aquarius on the sky map, which is much like a pictograph, as you see. You'll notice the 3 decans surrounding Aquarius, okay? You'll see Cygnus and you see Aquarius, Pegasus, Cygnus, and of course Pisces Australis. The age of Aquarius, it's actually upon us. So some say it is here and it arrived on December 21st, 2012. And many believe it is on the horizon, soon to take its place on the celestial clock. But either way, the change from one age to the next is said to happen over a period of 30 plus years, meaning it doesn't just happen in one day. It doesn't just show up over, in one day. It shows up slowly but surely over time, much like the sun rising above the horizon, not instantly, but over the minutes and hours of the day until it peaks at noon, and then starts its descent into the night and into what will eventually be a new day. This is exactly how the celestial or zodiacal clock works. And this is all simply put. This is the simplicity of it. So I read an article by a lady named Jennifer Reynolds, and some of the images here I'm sharing here with you are from her. And you see now we are holding up the sine wave. And the sine wave, it looks a little serpentine, right? And you could say, is this like being trapped in time or trapped in the sin layer of the serpent? A lot of people believe that. A lot of people subscribe to the notion or the idea that the sine wave is representative of the sin and the serpent, also, displaying time. So it's really something to consider whether you're a believer or not. It is black and white to know that there is light and dark. We see it. It is black and white to know that there is good and evil. We see it, regardless of your personal beliefs or religious beliefs, whatever. The truth of the matter is, good and evil is, we see it, okay? Light and dark, we see it. It's not a mystery. That's just not a mystery. So, when we start using words like, the serpent and the devil and all that, and some people, get a little worked up by those words, and they don't know how to feel about it. We have to just be kind of common sense with the understanding that, there's good and evil, okay? There's light and dark. Like, it's a no-brainer. It doesn't matter what you believe. This is evidence of what you see. So, that takes the mystery out of that. Moving on. So the age of Aquarius, it's upon us, and some believe, of course, it arrived on December 21st, 2012, trying to not get tongue-tied. So, and Jennifer Reynolds is going to start talking about, she talks about the galactic alignment, and this is the December 21st, 2012. And so let's go into some of what she shared with that and how that applies here. So the word Aquarius, for example, it means water bearer, okay? With the word aqua representing water and the word rius representing the word for river, being the root word for river. Based off of this most simplistic interpretation alone, we can view the dawning of the age of Aquarius as an age bringing rivers of water. And when we look at the world today, we can see unprecedented floods taking place globally, with heavy rains, rising sea waters to follow, etc. It is no secret that we are in fact experiencing more spikes in climatic changes worldwide. On December 21st, 2012, the world waited to see what would happen, right? The stories of the Mayan prophecies were well known and distributed, and we all wondered, what would their cause and purpose reveal? Astronomers knew that on this date, the Earth and the Sun would align over the galactic center, which is the center of the galaxy, the Milky Way, of course, during what is called the galactic plane crossing. Galactic plane crossing. This immediately stands out to me because one of the things that God has been pouring into me for a while, for years, is crossing over. So, the galactic plane crossing. The Mayans knew this well in advance, okay? They knew this information, but it was confirmed by the scientific community as well. So the Mayans, they seen this alignment as a marking of the end of a cycle of time, and also the end of their own Mesoamerican long count calendar. The crossing alone will cause climate upheaval on Earth, and those very dynamics that were known to the ancients of our world were recorded in numerous sources, and one major source is the Bible. Ta-da! It's said that the crossing may have started around 1986, a time that is believed to be associated with the beginning of weather changes. This is all. That statement is what is being said, but I really couldn't tell you if that's when it started. But our solar system, so it consists of the sun, moon, earth, and the planets. And astrologically, it is placed on one of the spiraling arms of the Milky Way galaxy. And over time, our solar system travels slowly up and down, or above and below, the dense galactic plane of this spiraling arm. And we are, we've seen representation of that in the sine wave. So this movement of above and below is the galactic arm is called, of course, the sine wave, or at least it resembles one. It's important to note that we do not move directly up and down the galactic plane, but we move at a curve along the galactic plane crossings. The sine wave is like a frequency moving up and down the plane as it travels. The sine is to some, as I mentioned before, associated with sin, as in the serpent. As it crosses up and down, it lines up with the Milky Way's galactic center. The crossings could last several years. However, during these crossings, the Earth experiences weather changes such as floods, earthquakes, droughts, severe storms, and the awakening of volcanoes, okay? This could also be the cause of sinkholes that are surfacing around the world, and this would make logical sense with so much disruption of the Earth's land masses, etc. Come back for part 2 as we go further into the age of Aquarius and the galactic plane. We're going to go into part 2 and uncover this a little bit more.